decision to stop apologizing for going higher? Will you make the decision? I know you all were not expecting to see me do another live, but I have a 5:30 meeting, another meeting, 5:30 meeting with some of the new people who want to join the Unlocking Greatness community, and you all are more than welcome to join me in that meeting. But so I decided to use this 15 or so minutes to talk to you all while I'm waiting for the meeting to start. Will you make the decision right now to stop apologizing for going higher? Will you make that decision? Now, for those of you who know me, you know that I have a book called Necessary, right? And many of you have a copy of Necessary. I don't have time right now to read through chapter 14, but there's a chapter in here called I Won't Apologize for Going Higher. For those of you who've not read that chapter, make sure you read through it because in that chapter, I talk distinctly about I was afraid of going higher and really putting myself out there and using the God-given gifts and talents that God has given me because I didn't want people thinking, who does she think she is? Get this. I didn't want people seeing their lack of growth through seeing me grow. So in other words, I didn't want to rise and go higher because I was realizing when I did that, everyone that I was around, for the most part, the people that I were around at that time, they were not really interested in going higher. They were comfortable just where they were at. And some of them looked at me critically, looked at me with critical eyes or would say, who do you think you are? Why are you trying to do that? Or that's not really your field. And what I realized, and I didn't know this, when I made the decision to go higher, and what I mean by that, put God first in my life, unapologetically show up and use the gifts and talents God's given me. Unapologetically show up and use the gifts and talents God's given me, no matter how ridiculous it may look to other people. I did not realize, you guys, listen to me. I didn't realize that it would change the way some people saw themselves. See, I wasn't expecting that part. I thought when you make a decision to go higher, when you make a decision that you're going to work on your goals and dreams, I thought it really only impacted you. I did not know it actually impacts the very people who are around you because it forces them to see themselves as well. So I talk about, if you read the chapter from Necessary, if you read the chapter called I Won't Apologize for Going Higher. So what I did instead is I stayed low. I tried to stay low for as long as I could. One, it was sort of a safe place to be. Two, I wasn't quite really sure if I had the gifts and the talents that God had graced me with to be able to do what he was telling me to do. I didn't want to look foolish out there to other people. And I wanted people to continue to love me at that low level. I didn't know that by rising to a higher level, some people would love me less. And I didn't understand that because can anyone relate to what I'm saying, or am I just speaking to myself? Let me know if you can relate to this. I did not understand that when you make a decision, my God, when you make a decision to improve yourself and to work on you, I didn't even understand what's released in the spiritual realm, the amount of attacks and things that can come your way from people who have an issue with your audacity to dream and to want to go higher. Someone says, I'm going through that right now. I didn't know that. I honestly, God, didn't know that. I thought when you make a decision that you're going to work on you, that you're going to go higher, I thought, okay, well, what does it have to do with anybody else? I didn't know, baby, that it would not only change the way they saw you, but it would change the way they saw themselves. So that chapter is called, and I'm referring from my book, Necessary. That chapter is called, I Won't Apologize for Going Higher. Because I remember the moment when, you all know I spent a lot of time in my closet praying. I remember the moment when God was revealing to me and he was showing me, no. You don't owe an apology for going higher. You don't owe an apology to anyone for walking in the anointing and the gift that I've placed over your life. And I remember saying to God, I'm like, but God, I'm not a licensed minister. Like, I don't have a church, and how am I going to go out here, talking about you and I'm not even in that space in terms of being a licensed minister or prophetess or whatever, someone with a really nice title, right? Right? And I was just like, how am I going to do that and then I remember telling God, I remember saying, but God, First of all, I'm fighting for my relationship with you as it is, because many of you know, as I wrote my book Necessary, you all know that I was going through the fire big time. Like big time going through the fire. Finances, marriage falling apart, my son was dying, just you name it, I was going through it all at one time. So I remember thinking, God, how is it possible that you can use this broken vessel to do anything for you when at this stage in my life, I don't even know who I am. Like everything that I built my life up on, at that moment, I don't know if some of you all can relate, just tell me you can relate, because maybe I'm just talking to myself. But in that moment, I was just feeling like everything I worked so hard to build up, I wanted the good marriage and, my children to be healthy. And I went to school and I got a master's degree and I was running my own business and I was doing everything that I knew to do right. And when it all began to come crashing down, I just remember thinking, but how can you use a broken vessel who's fighting to have a relationship with you to turn around and to have the audacity to dream and to pour into other people all around the world? Like it just doesn't fit. Can anyone relate to that? I see some people saying, I can relate. So the chapter from Necessary that's called I Won't Apologize for Going Higher, you guys got to make sure you read that chapter. And by the way, my book can be found, first of all, it can be found on my website at unlockinggreatness.com. And by the way, I'm going live, my last live today, thank you, I'm going live at 5:30, so in about 15 minutes. There's a last little small batch of people that want to join the Unlocking Greatness community, and they want to see, learn more about my mentorship service for personal and entrepreneur development. So if you all want to join, feel free to get on that call if you've not already been a part of it. But it's just going to be a quick meeting. It's a free meeting, but it's at 5:30 Central Standard Time. So in about the next 15 minutes, you can just go to my site at unlockinggreatness.com, and right there on the home page, I think the button is still there. There's a button there that says Meet with Z, and just put in your information and you'll be able to see me on a Zoom in about 15 minutes. I'm going to have a private meeting with some people that want to join my community, the Unlocking Greatness community for mentorship. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. I didn't even realize that I was apologizing for going higher by staying low. And my question to you all is, and I got one little passage I want to read to you all. Are you still apologizing? Someone says, I just in for your book today. Someone says, oh, I want that book. It's called Necessary, baby. It's actually on my website as well at unlockinggreatness.com. I have autographed copies, and actually you can get the audiobook for whatever you want. So if you go to my site and click on whatever, buy book or whatever, there's a link on there for the book. You can get the audiobook for whatever you want. But are you still apologizing by staying low? I want to see who can be really honest right now. And let me explain what apologizing means. That's why I'm calling this post No More Apologies. No more apologies is meant to be as a statement that you're making to yourself. Obviously, you're making this commitment that you're not going to try to play it so safe by staying low so other people don't get offended by your audacity to dream. You're not going to avoid making these quantum leaps in life. I had a live workshop session today with all the members of the Unlocking Greatness community. It was absolutely beyond phenomenal. A lot of new people had joined, and we all were in this meeting together, people from all around the world. It was fantastic. But one of the things I taught them about is the importance of making quantum leaps in life. Not everything has to be so linear. You can make a quantum leap, but you got to go there first. You have to literally set healthy boundaries in your life. You have to know who you are, of course, know who you are before God, and you have to be willing to let go of what no longer is needed for that next level. And guess what? Sometimes, baby, that's letting go of a cage mindset. Sometimes that's letting go of people. Someone says, I can't control how others see me. I can only control my flight. That's right, baby. Sometimes it's letting go of people, letting go of what people may think about you. So my question is, are you still apologizing right now? Are you still apologizing by staying low? I want to know who can be really honest with me. Let me give you some more examples of what does that look like when you're apologizing by staying low. You know that there's a dream, a gift, a talent, something God has given you, something he's placed in you. And maybe you put your toe out there in the water for a moment and you dabble with it a little bit and it didn't quite go the way you want it, right? Or maybe you're just tired. Sometimes you're just tired, right? Or you've bought into some of the excuses why it can't happen at this point, be it maybe you don't have the support or the finances or the whatever, you're not quite sure what to do or this or that. So instead of you getting uncomfortable, reaching out, getting even the help that you need, right? And instead of you offending people, especially for those of you who have, let me just be very careful with this. I'll just say who have people in your life who always got something to say about what you're doing. Anybody ever have people like that? Where you have some people in your life that's always got something to say? I've seen so many people when I've had private conversations with them especially, they always start off by saying, no, Z, I'm not apologizing, by going, hi, I'm doing my thing. And then when you really have a talk with them, they're so concerned about what other people think or say. And in many cases, believe it or not, sometimes it's in your closest relationship because you don't want to offend somebody. So my question is, are you apologizing to anyone by staying low? Because if your answer is no, my next question is, so what are you doing? How is life going? What are you doing? What are you doing on a daily basis? What kind of quantum leaps are you making in your life? For those of you who have businesses, especially for those of you who are entrepreneurs, someone says, pray for me, mama. I will, baby. I'll make sure I remember your name. What are you out there doing? What foot are you putting forward that, you know what, despite how this may look, despite what people may say or think, I know that God gave me this talent, this gift, or God has called me to do this or that. I'm stepping out there and I'm doing it. That's my question is, so what are you doing? What are you doing? There's a passage, if you all can turn to Colossians really quickly. And for those of you who want to join me at 5:30, I'm having my last webinar session for the day because I've been welcoming new members into the community. If you're looking for personal development or entrepreneur development, any type of mentorship, coaching, or you want to get into a good community platform, and if you've not already joined me, by the way, I'm more than welcome you to join me in a few minutes. I'm having a brief, it's like a 20-minute webinar, and I give you like a sneak preview of what to expect inside of the Unlocking Greatness community and inside of the mentorship program. So you can just go to unlockinggreatness.com. The link is in my bio as well. And literally just right there on the homepage, there's a button that says Meet with Z. Click that button and put your name in there, and then you'll be able to join me on a live Zoom in just a few minutes. Actually, it starts in 10 minutes. So Colossians chapter 3, there's a passage in here in verse 23. It says, whatever you do, now listen carefully to this, you all. Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for men. I'm going to read it one more time. I think somebody actually needs to hear this. Because some of you have given up a little bit too soon on your dreams and goals. Or some of you feel like the year has already kind of done its thing. And maybe I didn't get the results I wanted. Hey, Ruth Ann, you know I love you to pieces. Some of you have, you're not even aware. We talked about this early in Zechariah. I wish I had time to turn to it. That the accuser loves to stand next to us and feed us that negativity. What we didn't do, what we should have done. We've wasted too much time, blah, 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 blah. And if you get time, go read Zechariah chapter 3, right? And read how the accuser stood next to Joshua in that vision that Zechariah had. The accuser was standing right there, I think, by his right side. But oh my goodness, it's amazing that the Lord had the angel. First of all, the Lord rebuked Satan. Let me start there. And then he had the angel to dress him. I love that. The vision that Zechariah saw as he saw Joshua standing there in rags and in filthy clothes. And the first thing that God had the angel do was to redress him, get him out of those rags. Put some best clothes on him. Put some good clothes on him. Because that's how God sees us in the spirit. Even though at times we see ourselves. And sometimes we can be feeding ourselves that negativity. That's why, you guys, I always stress to you, it's so important. Number one, that God is always first and foremost in your life. If you can't join any coaching, mentorship program or community or whatever, baby, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. God needs to be number one. Having that consistent routine prayer life, that is extremely important. Now, for those of you who are like, Z, I am praying. I am reading my Bible. I'm doing all those things. But my goodness, things are still not changing. I just need that extra help. I know I need some help with my mindset. Not only the way I think, but the way I see myself and the way I show up. Now, if that's an issue, and you want to have some phenomenal results in your life, personal development, entrepreneur, you feel like you want to get into a good community with people that's going to love upon you and help you, then I would strongly advise, okay, baby, take it a level higher. Don't apologize for going higher. Get yourself into a good coaching, a good mentorship program. And mine is back open, by the way. Unlocking Greatness Community finally is back open. We had it closed down for a couple months. That's why I'm having all these webinars. Almost every day I've had a webinar inviting new people in and sort of giving them a sneak preview. So if you feel that you're in that category, then join me in the next 10 minutes or so. When I have my webinar, you can go to unlockinggreatness.com, and right there on the homepage, you can sign up to join me in just a few minutes, and you'll see a little bit of a video, and I'm just going to welcome you all to the community. So let me read this again. Colossians 3:20 says, whatever you do, work at it with all your heart. As working for, is it men? No. As working for the Lord, not for men. I told you all this earlier. I think it was earlier today, or maybe it was a day or so ago, because I've done a lot of lives lately. You have a responsibility to grow, baby. You have a responsibility to grow. And it's not okay to keep having the same results year after year and not get yourself the kind of support, the kind of help that you need. Get yourself into a good community. Whatever it is, even if it's just a good church, a good organization, get yourself around like-minded people, preferably people who've been there and done what you're trying to do. Get yourself into a good, healthy environment so that you can grow. You have a responsibility. Responsibility not only to yourself, not only to your family, not only to the generations that are coming after you, but if God has predestined you and God has placed an anointing, a blessing in your life, if he's given you a gift and talent, and you are refusing to use that, I would strongly advise you all read the parable of the talent. I don't have time to turn to it because I got to jump into a webinar real quick. I would strongly advise you to read the parable of the talents. It's a beautiful parable story that Jesus told. Look at what was thought of the person that had the one talent, but because he was afraid, he went and buried it. And look at what became of that person. And I'm not taking any scriptures out of context. I believe we can use all scriptures for every area of our lives. You guys, we have a responsibility to grow. Why do you think I was in California a couple weeks ago? I was in California a couple weeks ago because I wanted to be around some of the best coaches that there are in the world, really, right? At a major convention, because I wanted to learn and see what they're doing that I'm not doing. Like get some input, grow. Not sit on my high horse and think that I've got it all together because I've got more followers or whatever than the majority of them. No. I have a responsibility to grow. I have a responsibility to take my little butt like I'm going to do when I get home into my closet when I get home and sit before God, pour out my heart to him, ask him to give me wisdom, to give me guidance. I have a responsibility. I have a responsibility to be a better, employer for my staff members. I have a responsibility to be a better podcaster. Right? Because there are people that are being encouraged by the words, that God has given me to speak. You have a responsibility to grow. So stop apologizing for going higher. You don't owe anyone an apology, baby, for being great. Because greatness is who you are. And I'm going to keep telling you that until you start believing it. Greatness is who you are. And I'm talking to those of you who feel like you got it all together. And you feel like, I'm out there kicking butt and doing what I got to do. I actually have some entrepreneurs that just joined my program yesterday and the day before. And they really are on fire and doing well. But guess what? I'm calling them to take it higher. And they're like, you know what? You're right. I now need to start expanding my products and services for global reach. Right? I said, okay, let's get into some biblical principles first. Make sure we're following some good guidelines. Now let's work on getting this mindset where it needs to be, because you got to prepare, baby, before you go running out there. You got to become it first. You get my point? So whether you feel like you're on one end, of this thing where you're like, there's really not been much going well at all for me, or you feel like I'm actually doing pretty good, but I need to now take it higher. I got to get out of this comfort zone I've been in. Just because I've been in this field all these years don't mean I now can't do something different. I talked to a person earlier who's in retirement. She's like, I'm near retirement right now. But you know what? I feel somewhat unfulfilled. I feel like there's a calling or purpose in my life and I need to take it higher and do something different. And bless her heart, she joined the Unlocking Greatness community. She was in a session with me today and it was phenomenal. And that's what you want to be in a situation where you have an honest talk with yourself and you look at it and you say, do I need to take it higher? I wish I had time to go over with you all some of the things I trained them on today, because we went a little bit through Ecclesiastes. We broke out into some work group sessions, and that was really phenomenal. But we went through a little bit in Ecclesiastes, and we talked about, are you happy in life right now? It's one of the questions I asked them. Are you actually enjoying life? Because if you read the book of Ecclesiastes and you look at one of the statements Solomon talked about, there's nothing better for a man to do than to eat and drink and, what does it say? Find enjoyment in life during the few days, he calls it days, that God has given us. Are you actually finding enjoyment in life? It's time to take it higher, you guys. It's time to take it higher. So I want to give you all a challenge. If you are ready to get some help for personal development or entrepreneur development, you want to get into a good community, a good coaching platform, you can meet with me. Really, I got to get off this live because it starts now at 5:30. I'm just going to do a sneak preview of the necessary retreat. So you're actually going to watch a video and you're going to be able to see inside of my program what everyone else is seeing. So if you want to be a part of that, just jump on this live Zoom with me, which I need to close this out right now. Go to unlockinggreatness.com. The link is right there on the home page. It's going to be a button there that says Meet with Z. All you have to do is click on that link, enter in your name, and then you'll be right in the meeting with me in a Zoom meeting. So we're going to meet for about 20 minutes. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my mentorship program. I am going to show you a beautiful video that my team just put together this week so you can get an idea of what to expect. And I'll talk to you for a little bit and then I'll close out because I got to get my butt home. But anyway, love you all. Hope to see you in just a minute. Again, my site is unlockinggreatness.com. The link is in my bio. And if you guys want to join me for a little bit, if you've not already been in the meeting, go ahead and join me and I'll see you in just a minute. But I love you all. I want to close out by saying, do not apologize for going higher. Do not apologize. If you have my book Necessary, make sure you read chapter 14. I won't apologize for going higher, because when we have our next book club meeting, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. I love you all. I pray you've been encouraged. Love you all. Bye, Ruth Ann. You know I love you to pieces, Ruth Ann. Bye-bye.